Hey, it's Damon Brown of the Bring Your Worst Show. What show am I on? The Bring Your Worst Show, coming to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. Let me go and connect with y'all on Amazon Live. Let me make sure. There we go. Three, two, one. It's always a little bit of a delay. All right. Welcome to the show. It's good to connect with y'all. Again, it's the Bring Your Worst Show. I come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. If you want to subscribe for free, you can do that right there at the link below, or just go to YouTube. Just click the link down there. It's like youtube.com/Brown Damon. You subscribe right there. I am almost 250 episodes in. My main goal is to help you as a side hustler, solopreneur, otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. I've been a coach for several years. I've been a journalist for even longer. Sorry, I'm getting my video together. Been a journalist for even longer. And spent time in Silicon Valley, did a couple startups, had one really popular one called Cuddler. And after I had sold my startup with my two colleagues, I really wanted to find a way to help what I call non-traditional entrepreneurs. My path was very different, as a lot of our paths are different. For me, it was 2 degrees in journalism, master's in magazine publishing from Northwestern. Shout out to them over in Chicago or outside of Chicago. And longtime journalist. New York Post, Playboy, a lot of the major publications. That's how I made a living, still do to a certain extent. And then I got into the startup game. I ended up doing 2 startups, and the second one was called Cuddler. What was different about my situation is that I did that about a year after I got married, and when my partner and I had our first kid. And have been a primary caretaker. That too. Sometimes I do get ticked off. The primary caretaker for most of our son's life until recently, when my partner, my wife, started working from home. And so with that dynamic, doing a startup and trying to provide for my family and do my part was tough, but I was able to do it. And my whole goal is to help you do so. And you'll see in the corner, it's always reversed on the screen, Career Remix, my newest book, my 26th book, Get the Gig You Want Based on the Skills You've Got. It's available everywhere books are sold, and also available in audiobook form, which is what we're going to talk about a little bit today. But this is my newest book. Thank you for all the support and love. Shoot a review, send a review, shoot your shot, whatever that works for you, whatever terminology you want to use. Go ahead and put a review in there if you had a chance to do it. Even put something up on social media. I'm not as big on social media as I was earlier. I actually had a lot of episodes about this. So if you're a long time watcher, subscriber, etc., then you already know that me and social media don't always mix so much. But if you want to go ahead and connect with people on that level and share your thoughts on the book, even if you weren't crazy about the book or you had criticisms, please share it. I'm a journalist, so I'm used to tough criticism. So go for it. Hopefully, though, it'll help you get to the next level, particularly as we deal with the Great Resignation, or now the big buzzword being quiet quitting, when some of y'all haven't quit your job, but you're just not doing your work. Hopefully I can help you with that process, because that is not sustainable. Again, Career Remix. It's out everywhere books are sold. Came out in January. The audiobook, which we'll talk about a little bit more later on, came out in March. Love doing the book. Shout out to, actually I have my own book imprint or book publishing company, but this is actually a partnership with Union Square and Company. Shout out to them and the wonderful editorship, particularly during a pandemic. Go figure. So today we're going to talk about basic YouTube equipment for beginners. It's a little bit different for me. As I hinted at earlier, I think this is going to be my 241st episode. I think I checked it right before we got online. And so, yeah, I've been doing it for a while. The show launched December, I want to say 22nd, whatever the equinox is. So, or the winter solstice. So December 22nd, I believe that Monday of 2020. So it was a really intense time to launch something new. I make a living, again, as a speaker. I've done several TED Talks, as an author, as a journalist, as a coach. I coach you one-on-one over at danbrown.net. And when the pandemic hit, I was like, how can I stay connected to y'all? I'm used to going to like the TED conference. I'm used to being active. You see me, my hands going back and forth. I'm used to sharing a drink with y'all, talking about stuff, learning from you, just as you're learning from me. And suddenly all of us were at home. It's like, how can I connect with y'all? That's what got me on this venture. I have a newsletter at joindamon.me, joindamon.me. It's for free. Every Wednesday at 5:55 a.m. you get a message from me with particular insights or what's on my mind, things like that, kind of like an inside track. And today's Wednesday, obviously, so y'all would have gotten the newsletter a few hours ago if you subscribed. And I talk about this in the newsletter where I'm like, it was the first time in my life, aside from when we now have 2 kids, aside from when our 2 kids were born, it was the first time in my life where I felt, as an adult, where I felt completely disconnected from the people that I wanted to connect with, right? And so I'm used to being able to go to the conferences, to travel, to meet people on the road, to, launch a book and then be able to do a book tour. Like, I'm used to doing that. Even when I had my smaller books back in the day where I didn't have a whole lot of funding from the publisher or from myself, I still was able to make it work. And there were circumstances outside of my control where it's like, you have to stay at home. That's what got this show started. And hitting almost 250 episodes, I realized that, and again, it'll be 2 years and a few months. I'm like, well, there's certain things that I take for granted in doing this show, 2 to 3 times a week, because the Wednesday show is usually live. I don't always do live shows, but I always do the Monday and Friday shows. In doing all those episodes, there's certain techniques, certain things, like the way that things are lit, the microphone that I use. There's certain details that I take for granted now, but a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was like, I don't know. And there were some decent videos about the equipment, but it seemed to be either people saying, use your iPhone, which, for the recorded show, not this one, but not for the live show, but for the recorded show, Monday and Fridays, I do use my cell phone, which, if you want to get meta for a second, this is my cell phone. It's currently connected to Amazon, so I can't show you everything. But so they either said that, or they said, here's some equipment. It's not that expensive. It's only like $1,000, $2,000. And I was like, I got 2 little kids. You know what I mean? I live in Las Vegas, which isn't as expensive as Southern California, but it's not cheap here either. I've lived in much cheaper places. I got bills to pay. We got a mortgage. I'm not trying to do all that. And at the time, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I didn't know if this was going to work. And that's, again, I talk about that in the new book, Career Remix, where it's okay to do things that aren't necessarily going to work. It's okay to have a short timeline for the stuff that you're doing until you figure out it might be something bigger. Now, knowing the worth of what you do, you should try to understand that from the get-go. But understanding how long something is going to last, sometimes you're not going to know until you get into it. And frankly, I didn't know I'd be hitting 250 episodes. I should hit it next week after next. Early September, we're definitely going to be at 250. I couldn't have predicted that a year and a half, 2 years ago. I didn't know. If you don't know, then that means even if you have the money, even if you can borrow the money, whatever the case may be, lease it or whatever, it doesn't make much sense to overinvest if you're starting, frankly, some new shit. It doesn't make any sense. I share that with my clients, my coaching clients, as well as my consulting clients all the time. Let's not overinvest in this. Time-wise, money-wise, make sure your resources are sharp. Because then, let's say this YouTube channel didn't work. It's working. Let's say it didn't work for whatever reason. I got tired of it. Y'all didn't want to hear from me 3 times a week, whatever the case may be. I would have already dropped 3, 4, 5 grand on it. That leads to today. What I want to do is have a really simple video. I'll try to keep it around 30 minutes, 35 minutes, sharing some of the equipment, basic brass tacks of what I do, what I got, and what works for me on a budget. Everything in here, if you get it in total, costs around $300 US. That's it. So I've had this YouTube channel, gotten great feedback. It's led to me getting new coaching clients, such as yourself. It's led to me getting major keynotes, including keynotes on the road, now that we're starting to open up again. A lot of that and interest in me and my work came from doing this channel. So a $300 investment and a lot of time, let's keep it real, turned into something that has been profitable for me. Now, it's hard to make a profit on doing these types of videos. There's millions of videos about that. I am not an expert, right? But it does lead to other things. And those other things have been very profitable for me. So it ends up being part of a money generator for me, quite frankly, and a way to let people know who I am. And so if you see me on the YouTube video, this is how I coach. So if you end up approaching me or I end up talking with you and we talk about coaching together, there's no surprises. that ends up being a great time benefit and resource benefit for everybody involved. This is one simple example, but I digress. What I want to do today is talk about these basic tools that I use to connect with y'all. So let's get into it. All right. So one simple example of the tools that I use and the results of it is available right now. I'm actually doing a special thing with the Bring Your Worst show where I'm making excerpts of some of my older books available. This is my book that came out 1.5 years ago called Build From Now, How to Know Your Power, See Your Abundance, and Nourish the World. Here's a deluxe edition. It's available right here. It's available everywhere books are sold. It's actually part of my imprint. So buy this and you're supporting me. So I appreciate it. But there's a lot of love for this book. Thank you for all the support. This is one of my favorite books that I've done ever, next to Career Remix. So thank you all for the support. I'm actually having excerpts of the audiobook run as special episodes of the Bring Your Worst show. The audiobook was recorded right there. This is my office. I have a closet over there, and I'll get into some of the details of the tools that I use. I recorded the whole thing right there. You can go listen to it. It's not quite as polished as my latest book, Career Remix, on an audiobook there, because that audiobook was done in a studio downtown. Shout out to MGB Music. I'll go ahead and throw a link over there so you can listen to that in comparison. But for a home audiobook and something through my own publishing company, it's really damn good. That was done over there. So go ahead and listen to it, check it out, and that will give you some ideas of the results of this on the audio front, and then we'll get into the YouTube front as well, because they're kind of united. Okay, let's start with the YouTube front. The Neewer ring light. Big fan of this. I was a family member of mine and a couple other folks. We were all kind of putzing around with the with YouTube and with doing things online and all that. And this was some of this stuff happened before the pandemic. So I want to say 2019. And then I've had my coaching practice for a while. I have coaching clients around the globe. So obviously not all of them are in person. And so shout out to all of them. We kind of all experimented all at the same time and figure out what light works best for us. This is actually a ring light. I cannot show you because I'm actually using it right now. You can actually see it in my glasses, right? So if you see the videos, you see it in my glasses. It's a ring light. It's, as it said, about 18 inches. So about yay big, about the width of what I'm showing you on here. This works for a lot of really great reasons. Number one, at this point, it's around $100. So it's around $100. It might have been a little bit more when I got it. I would have gotten it about 1.5 years ago after the show started to pick up steam, because I went through about 3 different lights trying to keep it super cheap. Like I was getting lights that were like $10, $20. And I live in the desert. I don't know where you live, obviously. I lived all across the country, and the light is different depending on where you live. The challenge here in Las Vegas is we're in the desert. It doesn't matter if it's wintertime, doesn't matter if it's summertime, which we're at the tail end of summer here in Vegas. Doesn't matter if it's fall, which is around my birthday and things are starting to get a little darker, or springtime, whatever. There's always intense light. My window is right here, so I'm pointing this direction. And so for my earlier episodes, if you go to the Bring Your Worst show at youtube.com/BrownDamon, or scroll up to the previous episodes from like December 2020, January of 2021, you'll see that I look like Two-Face. Because I was like, oh, there's plenty of light in here. And I was like, let me just roll out the window. And it's just like this light. Or the opposite, which if you have little kids or other people that you're taking care of, older adults, or someone who's dependent on you, let's put it like that. I would be recording stuff at night, which it will be of no help. And there's a couple early episodes where, I look like I'm, doing a hostage video. And it's like, that's not obviously the intention. These are great. Notice I said these. I recommend buying 2 and then making them almost like a 45, 40, I guess it would be 90, 45 from you, but almost like a 90-degree angle to you, maybe a little bit sharper. The cool thing about these lights, let me get specific, is that they have a little knob at the bottom. You can turn them up or turn it down. I'll give you an example of that. So this is turning it off. See how dark it is, right? I was making videos like this. and then you can adjust it. Right? I have darker features, so I have the light super bright. If you have lighter features, then you might want a softer light. It depends on what you're doing too. This is a coaching, side hustle, business, entrepreneurship channel, so I don't need to do all that. I'm not like this might be my first time ever showing products. Aside from like one other time, I think about a year ago, I showed some products on my live. Other than that, I don't do that. You know, and I'm talking about, again, the live, not the recorded one, but the live like I'm doing right now. I've done about 50 of these. And so I don't need to have the perfect light. I just need to be bright enough so that you can see me. And again, I'm brown. So it's like you need that bright light, particularly if you have darker features. It is portable, which came in handy when I was traveling about a year ago. So this is the case right here. And lastly, I think they're in here. Oh, they are in here. Lastly, they come with different covers. So these, sorry for all the junky noise. These happens to be, I think, like an orange, like a burnt orange. There's a couple other covers. So I think there's like maybe 2 or 3 colors that you can patch on there. And it's really straightforward. Like it's almost like a little Lego set where the circle is made up of quarters and you just snap each one out. Now I'm heavy-handed and I haven't broken them yet. So that's good job on Neewer for making them durable. So you can snap them off if you want a certain color. They're white right now, but again, it fits my skin tone. And you know what I'm wearing, and you know, I tend to I have the white walls, but I tend to have like wood in my office, and I tend to lean towards, again, the darker colors. So that makes sense to have it super bright. For your office or whatever, that might be fine. These work fine outside too. I did a keynote about a year and a half ago, and actually took these down to my garage, and they worked out really well. The cord itself is fine. They seem super durable. Oh, that's what I was going to say. They also are portable. So there's like 3 or 4 little latches that you can unscrew or more like unsnap. You know what I mean? So it's like a little snap there. You unsnap it, push it down. So you can adjust the height, but you can also adjust the height to the point where it's only, I don't know, my guess is about 2 feet, something like that. And then it collapses a little bit. Same thing for the ring itself. And I believe everything, I haven't traveled with it in about a year, but I think everything fits in here. And this is lightweight, this is durable. Again, I have 2 of them. I had one of them for exactly one day. I put it right in front of me, and it was just like, it didn't work. And also, I had a person I connected with earlier this year where they had their lights set up right behind them on the camera. And like myself, they're pretty busy as far as doing the virtual work. And they actually hurt and burned. I believe burned was the word that they used, their retinas, because they were staring at this bright light. These lights are bright. That's why I want to keep them over here. I'm already middle-aged. I'm already wearing glasses. You know, I work with tech a lot. Yeah, it's like I don't need more eye issues. You know what I mean? So anyway, these lights are great. I highly recommend them. None of these are paid sponsorships. Let's keep it 100. So no one's paying me to do this. This is just, frankly, the shit that I like. All right. So Neewer ring lights. I've had them for, again, about a year and a half. Haven't had to trade them up. My, show hopefully has gotten better. My audience has gotten bigger. All those things, I've gotten more on point, and I haven't had to change my lights. So that's about as big of a recommendation I can give. All right, the next one I would recommend is and actually it's going to be 2 in here, but I'll just show you this one. Let's get meta for a second. The Logitech Blue Snowball Ice. This is it right here. Don't worry about this part. I'll explain in a second. This is separate. Just talking about the big ball here. I've used the Snowball Ice brand for, I think I've had like 3 of them. The last one I had broke, but I'm pretty sure it was my fault and or my kids. Something happened. Let's leave it at that. Again, if you got kids, you know the vibes. But let me show it to you again. So here's the Snowball Ice. I like it a lot. You're actually listening to it right now. So if the audio sounds weird, that's why, because I'm getting meta for a second. I like this a lot. It's simple. It's compact. You use USB for this. So I'm talking to you through, I have a MacBook Air, right? So part of the Mac lines, which is also super portable and all that stuff. It connects to the USB. Now, the newer MacBook Airs, we get inside baseball for a second. The newest MacBook Airs actually have their own, it's called the Lightning connector. The Lightning connector is not directly compatible with USB. So I was able to get a small connector. I'm going to disconnect you for a second. Okay. See, I told you it's going crazy. So this is actually a connector that you need to get. If I would have thought about it ahead of time, I would have threw it in the comments. There's a connector that you need to get. The connector to connect it to the newer MacBooks, $14 maybe? Not that much. Not that much at all. I wasn't upset about it. I was like, okay. But it allows you to connect to USB. If you have an older computer, or if you have a PC or more traditional computer that isn't reliant on, going to connect this back up. There we go. Hopefully you can hear me. But if you're reliant on a computer or something that has a traditional USB connection, it plugs right in. PC or Mac, which, dominant ones, or Chromebook, as soon as it plugs in, your computer, if you go to the property settings, whatever the equivalent is in your computer, I could get detailed, but it's very different for each computer. Whatever the equivalent is of where you get your sound from, and it'll say you're using this device for your sound, it should show up. There's no software, no nothing. It was just extremely smooth. Again, this is the Logitech Blue Snowball Ice. I am a fan of it. If you're on Amazon, you'll see the link for it below. It should be highlighted. If you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn, then the link is literally right there, so you can check it out. All these links are on Amazon. You can also find them at other places too. It just, for most people, they tend to use Amazon, so I go and connect it on there. And of course, you're on Amazon Live, you'll see it highlighted on there. It works really well for me. I end up using that again for the last independent audiobook that I did for the Build From Now audiobook. Again, the book that came out about 1.5 years ago, Build From Now. I use it for that. And I was in my closet using this. And I think the results, again, are pretty strong. You can go and listen to an excerpt of the audiobook. This is the first chapter right here. And I'll actually have some other chapters from the audiobook as some surprises later on in the season of the Bring Your Worst show. Anyway, I'm a big fan of this one. This one is currently, let me look at the price. Wow, it's even cheaper than when I got it. So right now it's around $50. Fantastic. I think when I copped it, I think it was closer to 100. I want to say it was like 75. Yeah, I think it was around 75. So if you're doing the math at home, the ring lights, which I'll highlight again on Amazon, the ring lights are just over $100. I got 2 of those, right? So that's the light you see. And now you can see me. The ice joint, the ice joint from Logitech, that's actually available for currently $50. So it's even cheaper than when I bought it. I think I bought this one again to replace my old one, which broke because it was the fault of my family. I'm positive the USB thing broke. Otherwise, they're pretty durable. But again, when you have kids, nothing's safe. This joint is currently $50. So again, the 2 ring lights together, you're looking at about $200. This joint's $50. So right now, you can have a really good mic and have your, pardon my French, your shit lit properly for $250, right? Isn't that cool? All right, so that's the Logitech Ice one. On that note, one thing that where I go even deeper on this is one of the Friday episodes, one of the recorded episodes I was talking about from a few months ago, talking about 3 professional audiobook secrets. As I hinted at earlier, I ended up doing Career Remix, my latest book that came out a few months ago. I actually did it as a partnership. So I have my own publishing company, but I did this one as a partnership with Union Square and Company. Again, shout out to them. And when you work with a major company, they're a subsidiary, if I get the word out, a subsidiary of Barnes & Noble. So they're like, okay. I was like, I could do some inside baseball. I was like, you know what? I have an audiobook set up at home. And they're like, nah, we'll get you a studio. Like, okay. Right. So suddenly I was in an episode of Making the Band. And so they found a great studio right outside of downtown here in Las Vegas called MGB Music. Shout out to them over there. And I talked about my experience with that and 3 major secrets I learned from doing a professional audiobook. Keep in mind that all the other audiobooks that I've done, some of them that become bestsellers, they're done in the various closets that I've lived in all across the country. And I've lived in Southern California. I lived in the Midwest for a little while. And now my family settled here in Las Vegas. That was during the course of it was over the course of 6 years. I wrote 8 business books, which are all stacked over here. And you see some of them behind me, behind my big head. And all of them were independent until this one. And so I didn't know. And so, trying to do a Prometheus where, I got in the real studio time and ended up doing it professionally and brought back some secrets. Some of these will save your health. I am not exaggerating. This is not clickbait. Like suddenly I was like, oh, I didn't have to do it like this. I'm like killing myself trying to do these audiobooks. It's like, I didn't have to do that. So all these techniques I talk about in here. It's way more in depth. It's about 20 minutes long. I think it's worth checking out. But Career Remix ended up being the result of these secrets I learned. And you can tell that Career Remix sounds way more professional than Built From Now. But Built From Now sounds a lot better than a lot of the audiobooks that you would hear that were done independently. Hopefully that makes sense to you. All right. So the next one I recommend is called StreamYard Live Streaming. I'm using StreamYard right now, so meta moment. But how else are you going to talk about this? The Bring Your Worst shows every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, Vegas time. About a year and a half ago, when I launched the show, again, take care of my kids. I did 2 books since I launched the show, so all this stuff's going on. I think I did a TED Talk, and I just did a keynote a few months ago. Like, it's just been a lot of stuff that's going on. Happy to be this busy. What's beautiful about this period of time is having a business, but what's hard is having a consistent schedule. So I decided to do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And every Wednesday was an optional live show like I'm doing right now. Doing a live show requires a platform. It requires software. StreamYard, actually, I've been working with them pretty much since the beginning. There were a few other ones that I worked with. Shout out to them. But these guys seem to be working the best for me. I think the monthly plan, I wouldn't say the monthly plan is less than $20 and a lot cheaper if you do it annually. And all it does is you go onto the website, you log in, you say, I'm going to record at this particular time. And then you can choose 3, or for the deluxe plans, more platforms you want to live stream to at the same time. So when I first started, I was like, I'm going to try a live stream thing. And you'll see that with one of my very earliest episodes, where it's just me with my headset on. Of course, I'm in the dark because I don't have my lights right and all that stuff. But it was the very first episode of the Bring Your Worst show. In fact, I should have thrown a link up here, but I digress. You guys can find it if you go all the way to the back and go to December 17th or December 22nd of 2020. The problem with that is that you can go to LinkedIn Live, which I'm on right now, again, Meta. You can go to YouTube Live, and then Twitter's been funny about it, but for a little while you can do Twitter Live, which was connected to Periscope and the other one that they had. It's been a little while, but they've since shut her down. So I kind of have Twitter Live, but it's kind of this murky area. But you can only do one. I mean, and there are videos of folks having like 3 cameras just so they can be on all the platforms at the same time. StreamYard eliminates that. What it says is that go ahead, go live through our platform. You can see your comments on the right-hand side. So I'm looking at my comments right now. The same ones that you're seeing me pop up. And if you have comments, and they'll pop up here and I can share them on the screen. We'll show you, it's always backwards on the screen, forgive me. We'll show you like how long you've been on the air, which I don't know if you can see that. I don't think you can, but I'm on the air. I'm approaching a half an hour. And then there's a little image of my new book, which I put up there myself. And right now I'm live streaming on Amazon Live. I'm live streaming on LinkedIn. I'm live streaming on YouTube. If you're watching this, you're watching on one of those 3 platforms. It's all happening at the same time. That's all I got to do. That's absolutely worth the money for me. So check them out if you're curious about having a live streaming client. Some folks I know just strictly do live stream, which I considered because you're able to be more interactive, especially as people get in and it's more dynamic. This feels more like a keynote than the recorded one. For me, though, I wanted to do both. So this is something that I use like every Wednesday, unless there happens to be a special webinar or something that I'm doing. So check them out, and hopefully they're worthwhile for you. If you want more insight into this live process, all my live shows are archived, including some of the early ones. Again, there's some rough stuff in there, so bear with me, but hopefully there's some good content. I think there's about 50 live episodes now. I think it's like the 45th, 46th. So yeah, and each of them are like a half an hour to an hour long. Like I said, I try to stay in that range. So check them out. You'll get some insight. Most of them, again, I end up using Streamyard with them. I think all of them. Frankly, I do not remember, but you'll be able to see how that works and how that's structured and all that good stuff. All right. More Inside Baseball. InShot Video Editor. I have the link right there. I think it's just InShot.com. I'm pretty sure I got the link right, but you can always Google them. I was using a couple of video editors. I might have even used QuickTime, and it was rough. InShot is great for me I can think of two really good reasons. First of all, it's, at least for me, it's super intuitive. And you see me moving my thumbs. Everything's done on the phone. So I think it's on Android, and it's definitely on iPhone because I use the iPhone version. So you can move stuff around. You can have text pop up. You can have outside images. My theme song is done by Purple Fluoride. Shout out to them. So there's my theme songs playing in the background. It's very straightforward. I just take the music that I got from Purple Fluoride for the Bring Your Worth theme song, send it to my computer, or send it to my phone. And then InShot says, do you want to use this as music? I say yes. I set up the volume. I loop it because it's a 4-minute song. I loop it if it's a longer episode, and that's it. Like me putting in the music every single episode that you see, it takes maybe 30 seconds, probably 20, because I'm getting pretty fast at it. And then it's super mobile, which is the second part. So when I'm going to pick up my kids and I'm waiting in line to pick them up, sometimes in the car or whatever, if I'm traveling, which I've been doing a lot of traveling lately, as I mentioned over the summer, all those different things, I'm able to do it right on my phone. So I love my laptop. I'm a hardcore MacBook Air fan. I don't always want to take this out when I'm on the trip. I just took a flight about 3-4 days ago, about a week ago now. It's been a long week, about a week ago. And I was able to pull out my latest video, and the videos that are going to be premiering, I think the one that premiered last Friday, because again, it's every Monday and Friday for the recorded ones. I think I edited that on the plane. You know what I mean? And it's just super straightforward. And lastly, the price is really good. I think I got the annual plan after doing the monthly for a little while. Again, you don't want to commit too early, but I did the annual plan, and I want to say the annual plan was like 60, maybe 70, no more than 70. I think it's going to re-up soon. But I did the annual plan just under a year ago, and it's great. Like, it's fantastic. In fact, I think y'all should charge more, but that's me being a business coach. Anyway, fantastic product. Shout out to them. That's what I use. If you're watching the live shows, you're watching StreamYard. But if you're watching anything edited, it's on InShot, and at least for the near future, that's going to be in my joint. So I highly recommend them. And I think it's a good place to start. I'm sure there's more sophisticated stuff, but again, we're trying to keep it beginner, just like myself. Bring Your Worst show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The playlist is right there. Again, about 250 episodes. Every single episode is edited with InShot. Again, check them out. We have the pop filter from Aokeo. I can never pronounce them, but I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. So shout out to Aokeo. I believe they're a Japanese company. Shout out to them. This is called a pop filter. So if you hear it in my language, I have a slight lisp. I'm originally from New Jersey, so I talk really fast. I'm always using my hands, so there's blockage there. The pop filter allows those P's, those S's, those areas where you kind of might slow your words or stumble or have like spittle coming out. It protects it. Now, this is a little bit more limited as far as how you can hear it from me, because the mic's over here like I was showing you, and I'm all the way over here. But back to the audiobook, when you're in the booth and you're speaking to your audience, or you're doing a podcast, not just audiobooks. I don't do podcasts. I appear on them, but I don't have one. But the audiobook and the podcast worlds aren't that much different. Excuse me. If you're doing a podcast, same thing. You want to have that intimacy with your audience, and you don't want to you don't want your audience to feel like you're spitting all over them, right? This is excellent. I think I did some audio work where I didn't have it, and then I end up doing it now where I do have it, and it's like night and day. Particularly, again, I have a slight lisp. I get really excited. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's the way that I talk, especially when it's stuff like this I really care about and that I'm passionate about. This helps 500%. Oh, how much is this? Let's see. $12. Again, what are we at? Like $270? So for starting a YouTube channel or a podcast, but let's talk YouTube with the visual part, that could change the course of your career and allow you to connect with people in the same way that I do on a more intimate level. $270 is not that bad at all. Not saying it's peanuts, but again, when I got into the game a couple of years ago, I was watching, really professional YouTubers. Like, that was their job. This is not my job, right? But this is their job. And they're like, yeah, drop like 5 G's for this filter. And I'm like, nah, I can't do that. Financially, I don't want to stretch that much. I can figure that out, but it's like, I don't want to do that. And number two, it's like, this is part of something bigger or something else. And if you're in the same boat that I am, or you're not sure if there's a direction for you, just, invest a couple $100. If you can figure that out, then you get some decent equipment. But again, in a meta way, you can see this is what I'm using. The Career Remix audiobook preview. You can listen to the audiobook that, again, I recorded downtown at MGB Music, and get an idea as far as the sounds and the feel and all that stuff, and what I'm working with. And it is 35 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up with this last one. It's an exciting topic, and I love kind of pulling the curtain for y'all. My main goal is to, create stuff to go on journeys, and then to bring it back to y'all and say, these are the pitfalls, these are the maps. There be dragons. Don't go that way. This is the way that might get you where you need to go. All the stuff that I have might not apply to you, but the stuff that does, I hope it really hits your heart in a good way. The last one, I was looking for an example of this, but I think the extra ones might be in my garage as we speak. Always trying to make sure I have space again for the kids. So it's SODOCT. Say that 15 times. Eggcrate acoustic foam panels. Joint comes in a 12-pack. It is currently $22. I think I might have paid a little bit less for that. Again, I think we just hit $300. Just hit $300. No whammies, right? These are the joints that are, again, foot by foot, right? Because 12 inches by 12 inches, about an inch thick, a little bit more than an inch thick. And I had myself and my sons, the young guys, but they're able to help me out. We pasted them all around the little closet that I have over here. And that was able to create absorption, allow, I've talked to audiobook folks, and I forget the terms that they use. When you're using these so-called egg crates, because they're called egg crates because back in the day when you wanted to make a soundproof a room, but you didn't have fancy stuff, you didn't have Amazon, stuff like that, you would take the egg crates, cut them in half, so the top and the bottom, and then paste them against the wall, and they actually absorb the sound. The limitation with this, which is, again, I learned this from essentially an audio engineer, one of the folks that I've met on my journeys. The challenge with this is that it will help sound from escaping, which means that if you're speaking in a closet, your sound won't bounce all over the place. So it'll sound like you're speaking directly to the audience, which is what you want. Again, with Logitech Ice, with the Aokeo pop filter, all that stuff. You want to talk like this. You can probably hear me, right? You want to talk like this. The challenge is that it won't actually help you as far as other sounds coming into the room. So you're soundproofing for what's coming out of your mouth, but it's not going to protect you from what's going on in your house. I have my wife, I have a 9-year-old, and I have a 6-year-old. That makes it really hard to have a moment of silence, especially when everyone's at home. No one happens to be home at this moment. So that's why it's like, yeah, this is not indicative of what my house sounds like. It sounds, turn up the decibels about 200. So that's one of the limitations. I want to be clear about that, where this will not soundproof the rest of the world from your recording. If there was construction going on in my neighborhood earlier today, if there's beeping outside, it's going to come in there if you use these. But the sound of your voice will be 500% more stronger, and it'll help contain whatever sounds were actually in the booth or closet, virtual booth that you're speaking in. Just want to be clear about that. I learned this from an audio engineer. He knew what the heck he was talking about. So I want to pass it on to you. That's a gem, right? Again, a gem to me. It might not matter to you. But if you have a loud household, this will not protect you from that. I don't know what would, to be honest, because I talk to engineers about it. If you got a loud house, you might need to get up super early or stay up late at night. Most of the folks that I know, my colleagues, my friends, people who are way on another pay grade, quite literally in some cases, as far as doing their audiobooks or podcasts or YouTubes, they're like, yeah, I do it at night. Like, or I get up super early in the morning, or I go and I rent this office. I do it in the closet over there. This will not protect that. But what it will do is make the sound of your voice so much stronger. Trust me on this. Powerful stuff, especially for $22. So anyway, I'm actually over the time that I wanted to spend with y'all. So I try to follow my commitment. We'll call it 45 minutes and call it a day. Anyway, I hope this gave you some good insight as far as getting your basic YouTube stuff off the ground. Why don't we go and do it from the top, just so for y'all that might have came in later. For the YouTube channel, Bring Your Worth. Again, it's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, hitting 250 episodes. And the equipment that I use is the Neewer ring lights. I suggest 2 of those because they're dope. They are affordable. Each one's like $100, which for a light of this stature is a steal. I am very, very money conscious, cost conscious, I should say. So, you can trust me on that one. The Logitech blue Snowball Ice. Again, get meta for a second. And while we have this up, the Aokeo, trying to do this with my left hand. The Aokeo pop filter, which right here stops your peas from popping. Right. I guess you want to push peas, but not pop peas, right? And then lastly, it's the 12-pack of the Eggcrate acoustic foam panels. I looked at a lot of them. I might have bought 1 or 2 other ones, and they didn't work as well. These are actually my favorite, and they're super affordable. So shout out to them. And as far as how to get software going, I'm using StreamYard live streaming. I'm using it right now. Highly recommend them. You can use the link below to check it out. I think there's actually a discount. I think you get $10, I think, if I remember correctly, if you end up using that link. But don't quote me on that. Just check it out and see what's going on. Please don't come back to me and say you didn't get $10. And then finally, InShot video editor. StreamYard is for live streaming. Let me backtrack for a second. If you're late to the conversation, StreamYard is for live streaming. So the live shows I do on most Wednesdays for the Bring Your Worst show. It allows you to cheaply go to multiple platforms at once. So I'm talking to you in my computer through StreamYard, but it's going to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/BrownDamon. It's going to my LinkedIn at LinkedIn Live. Shout out to y'all. And lastly, it's going to Amazon Live. Shout out to y'all over there. At the same time, I don't need to do anything fancy. I just need to point in the right direction and get on the air. So the lovely, lovely software. InShot Video Editor is for your mobile phone, iPhone or Android. It allows you to edit videos on your phone. Every single video from the Bring Your Worst show, again, 250 or so episodes. All the recorded videos, not the live ones that you're seeing here, but the recorded ones, the ones that look like they're edited, they're all edited through InShot. I'm a big fan of this. Shout out to them. And both InShot and StreamYard are super affordable. Again, that's my main focus. All the equipment I talked about right here, $300 or less. I think it's even cheaper now, like I mentioned, than when I got a year and a half ago when I started this show. Again, it's the Bring Your Worst show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I guess I'll be seeing you on one of these platforms I'll be talking about, and you understand how the sausage is made. And again, my new book is Career Remix. Get the gig you want based on the skills you got. Available on all platforms, all audiobooks. And of course, you can go and check out the YouTube channel to find out how this audiobook was made. Good luck, and I hope to see you somewhere in the YouTube universe, or listen to your podcast, listen to your audiobook. Until next time, remember, you can always bring your worth, and they can always go from now. Take care.